Now we get the hang of premise indicators, conclusion indicators. Remember, that's just a tool to help us figure out the structure of arguments, right? Because arguments are made up of premises and conclusions. So in the next 7 exercises that I assign, we're going to try to utilize what we've learned. First of all, the goal of all this is to identify the premises and the conclusions, and in addition to this, I'm going to actually ask you to think about putting this in the arguments that we see in these examples in standard form. But they're asking us to do a couple things. That is, underline the conclusion. They're asking us to put parentheses around premises, and then also, if we find premise indicators and conclusion indicators, put angle brackets for premise indicators and square brackets for conclusion indicators. I mean, you can see the sample, the first one that was done. We'll go through that one in a second. But the idea is to try to figure out the structure of the argument, and it's really tough. I told you in class, it's not so easy to do this. And let me also suggest that the way you ought to go about trying to do this is, first of all, try to figure out what the conclusion is. I went over that in class. Figure out what the conclusion is. And sometimes, if you can't, take a look at some of the words and see if there are premise indicator, conclusion indicators. If not, if there are premise indicators, that'll help you find the conclusion and help you figure out the structure of the argument. And finally, go back to looking for the premises. So the first thing we want to look for is either a premise or a conclusion indicator. Then we want to figure out what the conclusion is, and then finally we're going to go back to and identify the conclusion and the premises. And the other thing I'm going to warn you is sometimes this takes a couple tries till you get it right. Sometimes you get it wrong. I'm not going to go through wrong exercises. I'm just going to show you what the correct solutions are. And if you have questions, you can ask me in class. We'll go over it.